Yeah, good evening. It's Jim from JAGfx.com. It is actually, what is it? Thursday, the 18th of September 2025, but that's neither here nor there. That just gives you an idea of the date when I've done this video. Now, this video, we've been talking about our new dollar cost averaging or DCA EA, Expert Advisor, that we've just recently offered. I'm just going to try and do a few videos where I show different setups, different scenarios. There's a lot of different settings on this EA, so we'll get into it and have a look. This video is going to be mainly about the actual input fields or the settings in the EA itself. Now, most of you, if you bought the EA or you're thinking about buying the EA, well, this will be for those that have bought it. You will basically be, if you want to have a look at it or just get some information on it, then go to this website up here. It's a little bit hard to read, but it's JAGfx-EAs.com. Have a look at that. It gives you an idea on the website about just a little bit of information about it. We're going to update this website as we go along. There's just some sales stuff there, give you an idea. You can choose your plan. So there's it's a monthly subscription or a quarterly subscription or a yearly subscription. It's all in US dollars. You're not locked in for any lengthy contracts or anything like that. So it's all very fair. You can cancel anytime you want, etc. There's no dramas. So this is our first EA. So we're all new to this, myself and my partner. So bear with us while we stumble through it. It's not that hard, but it just takes a bit of setting up and that. So if you come to this website, you can have a look there. So as I said, JAGfx-EAs, that's with an S.com. There's an FAQ here too. You can come and have a look at that. It'll take you to this page. It's got a lot of information on there and how to install it, all the basic stuff you need to know about it. If you're having some problems, just have a look here first to see if it's answered there. If not, we're freely available via email, via the Telegram group that you're invited to join. We're easy to get a hold of. If anyone's had any history with me, you know that I'm contactable most days of the week. Sunday's probably my slack day, but that's just, you've got to have a day off every now and then. So there's the email address there. So you can have a read through those FAQs if you wish. So that's a site. So there's plenty of, there's even support. There's the email address again. All right. Just be aware, this is a high risk trading, especially using DCA, which is dollar cost averaging. It's higher risk trading, so just be careful of that. You know, I can't say it enough. When you actually join up, you'll be given a user manual, and I go to great lengths to explain the risks in trading and just to be smart about it when it comes to trade management, what time frames you're trading, what pairs you're trading, etc. There's a lot of things you have to be aware of, whether it be referred to this EA or any other EA or just trading in general. There is risks involved. You can blow your account, lose all your money, etc. Just be smart about it, and you shouldn't. But there's no promises in life, as we know. So let's get on to the platform. I've got to show you first. Now, just the general gist of the EA and what it does, so you have an understanding. I've done videos on this before in my YouTube channel, but I will just go through. This is a 4-hour Euro USD chart. I've got a basic setup here of the QQE advances, which is one of the main indicators this EA uses. And the levels I've got on this example, which can change, are the 60 level for the overbought and the 40 level for the oversold. Now, I'm going to rush through this, so if you don't understand those terms, Google's your friend, YouTube's your friend. Look at some previous other videos and that, but we'll just give you an example of what we're looking at here. And this is probably a good example to start with because this is where it does get in trouble. Now, basically, if it goes in overbought, comes over the 40 level, it starts looking for sell trade. So there's a sell trade there. Sell signal, the QMP filter, there's a red dot, takes a sell. Now, it's come down, we've got a blue dot, so that's a buy signal, that's ignored. Second sell signal there, that's taken. third sell signal. We ignore the buy, so we've taken one sell, two sell, three sell, and you can see that the QQE has never come down to the 50 level. Now the basics of this EA is looking for that 50 level, which in this case is over here somewhere. So it's like a reversion to the mean. We're looking for it to come back to the 50 level. So in this case, we've taken a sell there, third sell, fourth sell before it's come to the 50. So we're looking at the lows there. It may have gone and taken a fifth sell, and it definitely would have been out of all those trades somewhere in there. But that's an example of where it can get a little bit messy, or not messy. It can stress traders out because you've got multiple trades all in the same direction with price going against you. Now, there is ways of controlling the size of these positions, which I'll show you soon, and also other factors to take into consideration. But that's the gist of it. So that's a sell example. So here's a basic buy example. The QQE has gone below the 40 level, so it's looking for buys. There's the buy signal there, taking the buy on the open of the next candle. It's had a sell, it's ignored that. It's popped up through the 50 level in here somewhere, so it could have closed the trade there, may not have, depending on your settings in the EA. Then there's a sell, which we ignore, another buy here, and again, it's below the, gone up, another buy. Now, depending on what your settings are, you'd be out as a winner. More than likely, if you're just using the basic settings out at 50, you'd be out somewhere in here, and that'd be a small winner. If you commenced, then say that you're out of that one, the next one would be this. It's dropped below the 40 level again, waiting for a buy. There's your buy, and you're out probably in here somewhere, so it's another profit. Sell, we just move on a bit, then we'll go to the settings. We've gone above the 60 level, takes the trade. There's a buy, ignores the buy. We're still not down at the 50 level. Takes the sell there, comes down, two trades combined at the 50 level. You're probably out for a profit, all right? So that's it. There's more to it than that with regards to trade management, but that's the gist of how the actual EA works. I'll do other videos with actual settings in live sort of forward testing on the strategy tester in visual mode, so you can see it all. I've already touched on this. It's a pretty basic EA. It's a lot of input fields, which we'll get into right now. And just before we get into that, I've done a previous video on MT5 itself. It shows you, it gives you instructions how to add indicators, how to add the EA, how to add a template, etc. to the MT5 platform. As I keep on saying, Google, YouTube are your friend. But I've done videos on this previously, so it's not hard. Anyone's got any questions, just hit me up. All right, let's get into it. So let's find the EA and add it to the chart, and we'll go through the settings. So I've just opened the navigator panel. There's the EA here, JAGfx DCA. So just double click on it, that'll get it on the chart. Now, you'll see here, this is the front page. There's two tabs, input tabs and common tab. Always check the common tab and allow algo trading. So click on that. I'm just going to press OK for now. I just come up here. See this algo trading here? Make sure that's green. So make sure that is green. I'll cover that in my MT5 video. So we'll go back to the EA. We'll get it up. So algo trading, allow algo trading, we'll go to the inputs. Now with the EA, you do get a detailed user manual that's got all the instructions. So this is all covered in the user manual. So this video is just to help you make it a bit easier if there's something you're not too sure about or something like that. Now we'll just run through them. This is going to be pretty boring for those of you not interested or haven't got the EA, but these settings here, they're in blocks, and we'll just run through them. So the multiplier system determines the position sizing. Remember I said before, you might be in multiple trades. You might be in multiple trades with the EA. So you want to be able to control the position sizing. So we come down here. This is your base lot, all right? So this is what you start every trade with, or every sequence. So it's 0.01. That's if you're using the fixed lot size. So the lot sizing model, fixed lot size, you just want to start with the same trade size. That's what you're picking here. You've got options with regards to, you can do a percentage of balanced, or a percentage of equity, or step based on balance, or step based on equity. These are all covered in the user manual, but in this case, we'll just use a fixed lot size. We're going to start with a 0.01. Now, you've got a choice here of how you want to multiply that. Now, the EA will take, if it just takes one trade, then your trade will just be the 0.01 and it closes out, that's it. But if it takes a second trade or a third trade or a fourth trade or whatever, you need to be able to just work out how to make the position size of those trades. I use a sort of a loose Fibonacci sort of sequence. You've got a choice here. It could be 1, this is just a multiplier. So it'll be, in this case, the classic Fibonacci would be 1.0.01 as your first trade, which is just your basic base lot size. Your second one will be 2 times that. Your third one will be 3 times that, 5 times it, etc. You got choices here. These are just some basic choices. 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. You got aggressive ones, and you got straight out martingale, or you can use a custom one. I tend to use the custom one because I don't think mine's in there. So that's mine. So you just put that in there, 1, 3, 5, 8, 13. You can use whatever you want. You may be the case you just put 1 in there. So every trade taken will just be 0.01. If you want just 3 trades, you might want 1, 2, 3, that's it. And no bigger than 1, you might something like that. Whatever the last number is, your last trade size. I know it's a little bit confusing without showing you visual aids, but it's all explained in the user manual. It just controls the position sizing. Now that's your position sizing. Lot size, as I said, if it's fixed, that's not a problem. If you weren't using fixed and you say you're going to use a percentage of equity, and you select that from the drop-down menu, then you just put your percentage in. Now, the best thing to find this is just play with it in Strategy Tester in visual mode and have a look at the position sizing compared to your account balance. It's a bit of a test and work out, sort of reverse engineer what the best percentage is to put in there. Because if you put 50% in here, I can guarantee it'll probably work, but it's also a chance it may blow up your account. And you put 5% in there, it might be too small. You could put 10%. Don't think of it as a traditional 2% risk per trade. It's not like that. It's something that you have to test in visual mode to get a better idea of it. So that applies to both the percentage of equity and the percentage of balance. Now, if you're going to put step based on equity, this refers to this. So you might have a $10,000 account. Every $5,000 you want to risk 0.01. So when it gets up to 10,000, the next trade will be 0.02. It gets up to 15,000, and the next base lot will be 0.03. That's all that is. So it's just different ways of setting your position sizing and compounding also if you want to do that. Generally, I use the fixed lot sizing mode. That's what I do. And if my account goes up, say by 5,000 something, I basically do what the step does, but I just do it manually. It's no drama. So you can do that. So that's basically how you control one part of your risk. So if you want to go big, you can. If you want to be conservative, you go with a 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. Or if you want to go super aggressive, you can go with a pure martingale, which is basically just double. I wouldn't recommend that, but you may have a good system where you've worked out a good settings that's relevant. It's up to you. Or you can customize it to whatever you want. But you can control risk there, and that's not a problem. That's a good thing. Righto, we come down to trading parameters. The magic number. Now, the magic number, just You can put any random 6-digit number in there, and I suggest you change that with every time you add the EA to a chart, especially if you're adding the EA to several charts that are the same pair. So you might be just trading the Euro USD, you might be trading on the 2-hour, 4-hour, and 6-hour charts or something like that. Change this number. It's just so the EA recognizes what trade belongs to what sequence. That's all it is. So if you're trading multiple EAs on multiple charts, change this number for each one. Keep a record of that number if you wish, and just make sure there's no conflict with the platform. Slippage. In fast-moving markets, you get slippage. This is in points, so this is just 3 in points. It's a bit strange. They do points and pips and some things. This is just industry standard. Slippage and maximum spreads and points. 3 points is basically 0.3 of a pip. So if the market moves too quick and there's some slippage there, the EA will just ignore the signal. Same with maximum spread. This is a way of controlling risk. In this case, it's in points, so this is 30 points, which is 3 pips. Sometimes if you're trading a pair, this is not too bad if you're trading the Euro USD or the USD Yen or something, the Aussie USD, generally 3 pips is not an issue. But if it's on a Monday early morning when the markets are, your spread might be 10 pips, it won't take any trades until it comes in to 3 pips, then that signal still has to be valid, then it'll take the trade. Be careful if you're trading gold or Bitcoin or something like that, you'll have to adjust this. 3 pips won't be enough. And you put it on, the EA won't take any trades, and you'll notice that it hasn't taken any trades. This will be one of the reasons, the maximum spread, all right? It's just a way of protecting in fast-moving markets or when the spread blows out, stuff like that. All right, we come down here, maximum trades per sequence. If you leave it at 0, like I normally do, see there, it means unlimited. It'll just keep on taking trades and trades and trades. If you put 3 in here, it will only take maximum of 3 trades in any sequence. It may take multiple sequences, but it'll only take 3 trades. You've got to be pretty sure yourself, or you've got to have a plan B in place if you do limit the number of trades. But for example, someone might just put 1 in there and only take 1 trade per sequence, then you might only have a 10 pip profit target or something like that. You can get a little bit creative, and this is just one way of controlling risk, the number of trades each sequence, all right? Maximum concurrent sequences per direction. Now this means if you're set up the EA, it may go into it potentially could keep on taking multiple sequences in both directions. You may just want to limit it to 1 buy sequence or 1 sell sequence. So it could take, say, 1 buy sequence, then take a sell sequence. Then if you only had 1 in there, it wouldn't take another buy sequence until it was closed out, or another sell sequence until it was closed out. So again, it just limits the number of trades or number of sequences. So if you put only 1 trade per sequence in there, and only one sequence, it'll take a buy and a sell. As long as you've got some sort of exit strategy for one, eventually one will close, then another one will open. It's just a way of limiting risk. So that's another way, that's another factor. Now this one here, allow buy and sell simultaneously. It's a word I have trouble saying. True is what I normally have. This is if you're in the US or something like that, or you have an account that only allows you to take buys or sells at the same time, just put true in here. Put false in there. Because what it does then, if your EA starts a sell sequence, it won't take any buy sequences at all until the sell sequence cleared. It could take multiple sell sequences, but it won't take any buy sequences until the sell sequence is cleared. And once it takes if the sell clears, it takes a buy, it won't take any sell sequences until the buy clears. It's just a way of helping our US friends or anyone that's restricted with hedging and that. So again, it's another risk controller. So there's plenty of risk controllers, everything from position sizing that you dictate to the number of the size of the initial trade, which you dictate. Any of this you also control, and the is maximum spread, and also the number of trades you can take in a sequence, number of sequences, and buy or sell. So that controls all that. Now we've got a trade direction filter. Buy and sell, you've got a drop down menu here. Choices are buy and sell, buy only, sell only. Now, there's a couple of ways of looking at this. Generally, it's left on buy and sell, which is Forex. It tends to go up and down, but you may have a strong opinion about a pair, or you may be trading, looking at a daily chart and attaching the EA to a 1 hour chart. So if the daily chart was in buy mode, then you may only want to take buys on your 1 hour chart. So you could set that to buy if you're using it as a semi-automatic tool. Or you may be trading Bitcoin. You may just have a buy only buy, so you set it up for buys only. Or something might be just dropping off the edge of a cliff. You might just want to sell trades. So again, it's a risk control. You control what you want. Righto, moving on down, we have enable trading hours. This is mainly for day traders. I don't use it that often, but it's there if you want it. So you can control the trading hours. True or false is pretty straightforward. Time reference, it's a drop down menu. You've got 3 different times: broker time, local time, and GMT offset. These are basically the 3 times that are offered on every EA. I generally just use broker time. I just reverse engineer it, work it out once, and take it from there. If you use computer time and you move around a bit like I do sometimes, it may mess up your timings with your local time. GMT offset just confuses most people, but generally brokers have got a time based on GMT plus 2 or something like that, or GMT plus 3. It's a bit of a tricky one to work out. Best to Google that if you're a bit confused, or just go with something simple like broker time. That's what I tend to use. If you're using GMT offset, you've got a choice between -12 to +12. If it's any negative, you have to put the minus sign in there. If it's positive, don't worry about the plus sign, just type it in there. Here's your start times, all in 24-hour clock. So 0900 is 9 o'clock in the morning. End time 1700, which is 5 p.m. All right. So just work that out. You can type it in. You type it in by hand. There's no drop-down menu or anything like that. If you want to, you can put 9:30 in the morning or 9:15, whatever suits you, to end time. Next are just your days. Some day traders don't like to trade certain days, so it's either true or false. They're just true or false. See that? And you've got Saturday and Sunday. You may ask why that is. Well, something like crypto is a 24-hour/7 market. So crypto, you may not want to trade on the weekends. It's generally pretty quiet. Up to you. Some brokers do have a Sunday start trading for the week on a Sunday, so you may want to put true in there. So this is mainly for day traders. So that's what those. I know I'm rushing through this, but they're pretty self-explanatory, most of these. Now, end of day management. Now, you can use this independently of this. You can set this up. If you're a day trader, you can set this up and you can have an end of day stuff down here. Or if you had false in there, you can still use this. All right, I hope that made some sense. So even if you're not using the above, you can still use this. End of day, enable end of day actions, true or false. So it's one or the other. You've got choices. So at the end of the day or end trading time, you can do nothing, which means what happens, all your trades will just run their natural course and they'll just close out when they hit their targets or hit whatever their exit strategy is, and no further trades will be taken until the start time. Or you can close all positions, which means just close every trade that's open, whether it be win or lose. You can close just the profitable ones, which means even if they're one pip in profit overall, they'll close any sequences that are out and just let the losing ones keep on running until they run their course, or close the losing ones only. I don't know why you'd use that, but it's an option. Then we've got further to end of day. You've got Friday, so you can close on a Friday. Some traders don't like holding trades open over the weekend, so you can elect to do a Friday close, so enable Friday specific end of week actions. So true or false, and the time you want to close on a Friday in broker time, that is in broker time, so make sure you understand what your broker, what time that is for your broker, and Friday end of week action. So it's basically the same as this drop down menu here, same choices. Right, now we get into the actual settings for the QQE Advanced, which is this thing down here. So in the example I showed you, it was 60 and 40. Here's where you set that. Overbought level, you can set any time you want, any level you want, and they don't have to be the same distance from the 50 level. You may put, say you're trading Bitcoin or something like that, or gold, you may only want to take sells when it's extreme, so you may put 70 in there, but you may want to put, say, 40 in there in the lower one. Obviously, they're not the same level from the 50 level, but you can do that. So it's up to you. The bigger the number, the further away from the 50 level, the less trades. So obviously less risk. Again, you're controlling risk when the price goes to extremes. You can put 50 in here and 50 in here. I don't tend to do that because I just don't want to confuse the EA. So if I'm going to trade just around that 50 level, I tend to put 51 and 49. So that'll get new sequences started every time you bounce around that 50 level. So you control the overbought, oversold level. Again, a way of controlling risk. This is obviously the most aggressive. If you put, say, 80-20 in there, you're probably not going to get too many trades. You might go 75, 25 or something like that. You'll start getting more trades. The closer you come to the 50 level, the more trades you'll get. Again, it's a risk controller. Now we get into the nitty gritty. We've given you an option of 4 ways. This is exit strategy of exiting the trade. And when I say trade, I mean each sequence. So a sequence may have 1 trade, it may have 15 trades. They're all trades in a sequence are exited at the same time using this EA. There's no partial closes, anything like that. So they're all closed at the same time. So we've got 4 modes. This is a drop-down menu. You have to choose one of these. And depending on what you choose, depends on what you fill out down here. So the basic model that I briefly described at the beginning of the video is the QQE 50 level plus recovery mode. So we'll go through that in a minute. Next one's just a pure trailing stop. It just means once the trailing stop's activated, it doesn't matter where the QQE is in relation to the 50 level. The EA will follow the trailing stop. That's it, set up. Then you've got a fixed profit target. Again, once the EA takes a trade, it starts looking for that profit target, and that can vary depending on how many trades you've got open, when it closes, etc. Then you've got a 4th option, hybrid QQE 50. So it's basically the same as the QQE 50 in recovery mode, except it's a hybrid where you've got a trailing stop added to it. Now we'll go through them all 4, so it's just a matter of selecting one. So we picked the 50 and recovery mode, and we just have to come down to the next input field here, recovery buffer after break even, 5 pips. That's your basic one. So basically that means once it gets to the 50 level, if it's in any profit at all, the sequence, it'll just close out all trades. Once it gets and confirmed at the 50 level, on the open of the next candle, it will close all trades out for whatever profit they are. It could be 5 pips, it could be 1 pip, could be 5 pips, could be 100 pips, depending on how much it's moved and where your trades were taken. That's a gimme. If it gets to the QQE 50 level and it's not in profit and it can't close, it won't close at a loss. So what it starts doing is just keep on taking any trade signals in that direction, or looking for QQE 50 plus how many pips are in this level here. So in this case it's 5 pips, and you can nominate whatever you want just by typing it in. It might be, say, 30 pips. So look for a break even plus 30 pips or whatever. Again, practice in visual mode to get an idea of it. When we get down here, you'll see you can draw some horizontal lines in on your charts, and you can watch them in action in visual mode. So that's all you need for the QQE 50 plus recovery mode. That's the only settings you require. Now we'll go down to pure trailing stop. Now if you elected this, you don't have to worry about the recovery. So we're looking for trailings. So here's a trailing info. All right. Now there's notes here. Trailing starts on first pips or dollar setting. Now it's up to you. It's a little bit hard to explain, but if you've just got one trade on, you could use both trailing start in pips, or you can use trailing start in profit in dollars. If you don't want to use either of them, just put 0 in here, 0 equals disabled. You could use both. Now, the best way to explain it, say for example, you had a 100 pips profit and you only had the one trade on, but you had, say, $10 in profit. It may get to one or the other quicker. If you have multiple trades on, it'll get to probably the dollars quicker, and it'll start the activation of the trailing stop. It's a little bit confusing, like I said. The best way is to trial and error in visual mode, but it just gives traders another option. That's all it does. So you can choose. And if you start in pips, everyone understands you start in pips, you trail in pips. That's easy to understand. If you start in dollars and trail in pips, it gets it messes with your mind a little. So there's something you have to experiment with and trial it. I've played around with it, and I like having the other option of having the two dollars and pips. A lot of EAs don't base their input fields on dollar value, so this one does. It's got a combination of pips and dollars, and you'll see that in the take profit also. So it starts on first pips or dollar setting. That's all that's saying. So basically, if you elect both, whichever one's activated first, it'll start on that. Then it goes into your trailing distance in pips. Now, if you've got one trade on, that's easy to understand. It just trails by 50 pips on that one trade. If you've got 3 trades on, then that 50 pips gets a little bit, it's like an average of those 3 trades. Again, this is something you watch in visual mode. I can't stress enough, and I'm going to bang on about it a lot, but there's a reason for it, and that's why. Because there's just so many settings in this EA, and there's so many variables and ways of doing things. Trailing step, I tend just to put that as 1. So every time you get a new high by 1 pip, the stop moves by 1 pip. If you put 5 in there, if it moves, the new high was 5 pips higher, then the stop will follow up 5 pips or something like that. It's just trailing blocks, again, visual mode. So that's just for your pure trailing stop. That's it. If you just use that option, that's all you have to fill out. Now that's pure trailing stop. Now we'll go to the next one. I'm just going through the list. It might be a little bit all over the place, but I'm going through the list from top to bottom. Fixed profit target. So our exit's fixed profit target. And like I said before, when you're going to trailing stop or fixed profit target, the EA is not looking at the QQE 50 for any exits. It's just basically relying on the trailing stop settings or the fixed profit target settings. So if you have fixed profit, then you have to come down here. Exit parameters, fixed target, all right? So you've got a choice here. This doesn't look like it, but there's a drop-down menu here. So fixed target type, you've got a choice. You can either do it in dollars, which I actually like. There's a fixed price level, which I'll explain in a minute, or you've got fixed pips from entry. So there's 3 choices. If you select dollars, e.g. $50, and profit target and deposit currency, it's your deposit currency, you just put in the dollars there. So you might put 100. Make sure you change this though to suit whatever you're thinking down here. Sometimes you forget about this and you put things in here and it doesn't work out. So if you select 50, make sure you put something in this field here. You don't have to put 50, it's just an example. Just to show you it's what it means, fixed currency amount. So put $100 in there. EA will start taking trades. If there's one trade, it'll take a lot longer to get to $100. If there's 5 trades, it'll be quicker to get to $100 as long as it's going in your direction, obviously. If there's 15 trades on, it may only have to move a few pips to get $100. So it's a fixed amount for each sequence. Doesn't matter how many trades there are. Now, that's that one. That's simple. If you'd selected, we'll go to pips, fixed pips from entry, then this is the one you fill out. Profit target in pips. It might be, if it's 200 pips, again, if there's only one trade on, it could take a while. If there's 5 trades on, it might not take as long. It takes the average, and you have again, go to visual mode. It's not as straightforward as you think. It's not looking for 200 pips between 5 trades. It's sort of a little bit different to that. Again, it's something I stress that you should check out and test before you start trading that live. Now, the third one. So if you've selected fixed price level, e.g. just a price level. In this case, there's an example, 1.25000, whatever. So if you select that, you have to actually put an exit price level in here. Say, for example, you're trading the Aussie dollar. At the moment, the Aussie against the US dollar is around the 65-cent level, all right? So that's it there, 0.6500. Put another 0 if you want to get pedantic, doesn't matter. Now, what the EA will do, it will take, if price is currently below that 65-cent level, it'll just take buy trades up to that 65-cent level and will close all trades when it is confirmed as a cross of that level. And once it's above the 65-cent level, it will take sell trades until it gets back to that 65-cent level. Now, obviously, the Aussie dollar is not going to stay around the 65-cent level forever, even though it has been for about a year or so. You could quite easily trade it successfully like this using that method. It's just something you have to be aware of. Just don't set that and walk away for months. You may be a trader, it's more hands-on. You look at, you like certain levels, you want the EA to trade to or around, then that's where you put that in there. It's probably not a common one, and a lot of traders probably won't use it, but it's there. It's just another option. So you've got a choice of price, fixed target of price or points, or an actual level on the price chart itself, which will be very specific to the pair you're trading, obviously. And the other option is the hybrid. So hybrid QQE 50 and trailing stop. Now this is a little bit tricky. You have to put in your buffer here. That's one thing you have to do because it's a hybrid of the QQE 50. So you have to put your buffer in, and you also have to come down to your momentum trigger info. So this what actually activates the trailing stop. So if you put 30 here, you probably want to say we had 10 in there. 10 in there. We might put say 40 in here. Then you don't have to worry about these 2 input fields. You don't have to worry about this or this, but then you have to worry about this. This is all explained in the user manual, so I know this is going to be a little bit confusing on a video, but you don't have to worry about these 2, just this, your trailing distance, and also your step. So there's 4, if you do this, you have to have that. So there's 4 input fields you need: your buffer, your initial buffer, your momentum trigger, and your trailing distance and trailing stop. Now all this basically is, again, it's a hybrid, so go back to the QQE 50. If it gets past the 10 level and blows through the 10 level, the EA won't necessarily close the trades, but if it gets up to the 40 price plus 40 pips, then it will activate this trade, so it'll activate the trailing stop at 50 below. Then just trail it up. If at any time price drops back down and the QQE goes back through the QQE drops down and gets back into this buffer 10 level, it'll close all trades out at that level. So it's going back to the original QQE 50 plus buffer level. So it gives you the opportunity. This won't activate that often because most of the time you'll find that your sequence of trades will close out at just at the plus 10 before what this is designed for is every now and then the market may make a big move on news or something like that. So instead of just getting out the QQE 50 plus 10 or whatever, it could activate this trailing stop and just take off, and the stop just trails up, and got the potential to make more profit. Again, it's a little bit confusing, and it's something that you've got to test and get a good understanding of how it works and watch it in visual mode to see how it works. So we've basically got entries. So far we've got entries, position sizing. Entries are based on wherever you put the overbought, oversold on the QQE, and now we've got exit strategies. So 4 exit strategies. Stand by. All right, this video's dragging out a bit, but we'll get through it. It's only people are going to be watching, people interested in the EA, so no dramas. Where are we up to? All right. So we keep on moving down, have a look at we get into more risk reduction. So again, we're concentrating on risk reduction. Enable minimum distance between signals. It's either true or false. And then the next, obviously, is that if you select a true here, you have to nominate a minimum pips between signals. Now, all this means is, because we're using the QMP filter, the red and blue dots on the price chart to give us trade signals, sometimes you get a signal that's on pretty much the same level as the previous signal. You may wish to reduce the number of trades. It's something I don't use, but my partner, he likes it, and other traders might. Oops, sorry about that. What I do? We've got Donald Trump there. Other traders may wish to use it. So if you want to use this true, and you say you put in, so it might be 15 pips. So if you had a buy signal, then there was another buy signal in that sequence of trades, and it was within 15 pips of that last buy signal, it'll ignore that one. So it just takes into consideration the previous signal, and that's all it does. It's just a way of controlling the number of trades. You might not want, 4 trades in a sequence all around the same level or something like that. So that's up to you whether you use it or not. And then we've got another enable risk reduction. Again, true or false. This is similar to this. You could use them both together in conjunction with each other. It's up to you. But this just, this risk reduction, all it does is you may not be comfortable with, say, a sequence of trades. It could be 1 trade, it could be 15 trades. Some traders start to get nervous around once there's 4 trades in a sequence, and it may be, that the case is the EA's taken 4 trades, and you have a set profit target or something like that, and you can see it's not going to get close to that. You may just be comfortable or feel better if the EA just closed all the trades out at overall break even or something like that. So if you put enable risk reduction to true, and say you set it to 4 trades, then you can set a buffer. So what this would do, if you set it like this, true 410, all that does is once the EA's taken 4 trades, it automatically thinks, well, he or she has selected enable risk reduction. So once 4 trades are taken, even though there's a profit target, it might be 100 pips away, or we're not close to the QQE 50 level or anything, trailing stops nowhere close to being activated. All the EA does is start looking for an overall break even plus 10 pips. That's all it does. It may take a 5th trade, but it doesn't matter. It's still looking for overall break even plus 10. So instead of going for that big $500 target or 500 pip target, it's just looking for overall break even plus 10, or it could be plus 1. Doesn't matter, whatever. And you can nominate as many trades as you want, or you can just put false there if it's not something that you want to use. So that's it. So that's another, they're two more risk reductions or controlling risk. So we've gone to, as I said, we've gone to great lengths. We know the risks involved in a dollar cost averaging type EA. And, that goes in hand with choice of currencies you choose, choice of time frames you choose, time frames, currencies, and other settings. So that, if you're trading a pair like the pound yen, you may get way too many trades, or you're trading Bitcoin short or something like that, you can get too many trades. But if you're trading the euro pound or something like that, you're going to get less trades. So risk reduction. Now the next, all these ones down here show the lines, so you can show different colored lines on the charts. These are really handy when doing visual testings. So when you're doing any visual testing, you want the most relevant lines and colors on the screen, and that's all these levels do here. So you can true or false, select the color. That's it. So you want to show the risk reduction line on the chart, true, and the color, and it'll show it. So once the risk reduction kicks in after 4 trades, you'll see that aqua colored line. In this case, it'll be overall break even plus 1 pip. That's where that line will show up in the chart. It's just a visual aid. That's all it is. Same applies to show trailing stops on the chart. These are good if you have trailing stops. You may have a different color for buys and a different color for sells. You can show what sort of line you want. There's a drop down menu. The trailing stop line width. I think if you go with dash or something, you have to have 1 in there. I'm not sure about that. That's something you have to check out yourself. You can show a profit line on the chart, true or false, color. There it is there. And again, the style of the things. These are all pretty straightforward stuff. Now we come down to sequence line visualization. You can show start end lines of a sequence. So once a sequence commences on a chart, you may start with an aqua line. This will be a vertical line. All these other ones are horizontals. This will be a vertical line. You can put different colors for the start and the end of a sequence. It's not something I use because I generally have multiple sequences on, so it gets a bit confusing on the chart. But if you're just using one sequence, this is something you may, and it's good for testing again. So it's true there. And show break even and buffer line, true or false. And here's the colors for that. There's orange. Again, you can change things. Then this is the line, the one I tend to use the most, show pure break-even line, true. Now this is not for every trade on the chart, this is just for every sequence on the chart. Always use a yellow line. It's always a solid yellow line. That's what I use. So show, they're handy, very handy for testing especially, but some people like to see them on the live charts. I have them on mine, but as I said, it can get a little bit confusing. You've got multiple sequences on. All right, now we're just getting down a little bit close to the end, which is good. We've got a show QQ indicator on chart. So now the indicators are actually built into the EA. I tend to, because I use templates for everything, I tend to put this as false. And I'll put this as false. Now, I just like to use my own settings, that's all. I like my own colors. But if you just want to put them on the chart when the EA loads, you can just press true there, true, select true, select true. Pop-up alerts, I find them a little bit annoying. So disable an indicator pop-up alerts. I don't like them on the chart. So it's set by default to true, but you can change that to false, and that will, I know it's a bit reverse psychology. False, you will get them on the chart. So disable, yes. True, so just read that. False, false, so it's just the indicators and that there. Now, user comments, I use this all the time. User notes or comments for this EA instance. I like to see what each trade's open, what it refers to. So, for example, this is, what's this? I say this is the Euro 4 hour, so I might put something like Euro USD 4 hour. And if it's trading 60-40, I just put 60-40, and it may be QQE 50 plus, say, 20 or something like that. So when that trade opens, in my comment section of my trade terminal, it'll show that. All right, it's just a way of keeping track of things, especially if you've got multiple trades on, multiple time frames on the same pair, etc. And you want to manually go in and check things, make sure you know which trade is for which sequence. That's all that does. So it's just your comments on that. Now we have the next one's license settings. Enter your license key. When you join, now I don't think I've got it. Oh, let's have a look. Where is it? So when you're in your JAGfx, you join up here, FAQ, you've got a dashboard. Now, I don't think I've got anything in my dashboard. I'll just click on it. Yeah. So if I had a subscription in my dashboard, I don't need it because I'm the actual owner of the EA, so I don't need to have you'll have in this dashboard, you'll have a license key. It's normally I think it's 12, 15 numbers and letters combined with dashes in between. It's specific to you, so you'll have that. So when you go to the EA and you first load it on, it'll ask for your license key. Enter your license key. You'll need this license key for it to work. Now just type it in there and it's all good. Or just copy and paste it in there. It's a safer thing to do. Just make sure you get the right one. So that's just a simple number. You just copy and paste into there. What's a number of letters combined. Now what I do, I tend to put the license key in there, and with my basic settings on any EA, I tend to save it. So remember on a previous video I showed you how to save stuff, and I can either save it like that as a set file, or I can actually load the EA onto the chart and press OK and just save it as a template. That's a good way of doing it, and you don't have to fill all this stuff out every time. So there's ways of saving things. There's a couple of ways, either set file or template, and just a matter of changing things that you need for whatever pair or time frame you're trading, etc. So you enter your license key in there to make sure everything works. So that's a give me. You have to do that or else it won't work. Now this next one's just your on-screen display panel. You can show it or you don't. It's up to you. I haven't had a good look at it yet. I've got an idea. It just shows you the basic stuff. Some people like it, some people don't. It can take up a little bit of resources. If you're doing some manual back testing, make sure this is false because it slows down the testing completely. But true, I'll just put it on the chart here. We'll see what it looks like. True, you can change the position size. If you're going to move it around, just take a note of what the default settings are. So panel X and panel Y, that's just your left and right axis, whatever it is, or your horizontal and vertical axis. And you can just change a few colors in there to suit what you want. All right. So we'll put it on true. We'll just see if this EA loads on the chart. Just make sure everything works and see if we get the panel displayed there. So press OK. Hopefully I've got everything there. And it's not displaying for whatever reason. Oh, because I haven't put a license key in there. See? Need a license key. But yeah, doesn't matter. I haven't got the license key, so I can't do it. And I haven't got the editing skills to put a license key on there without blanking it out. So, it's a shocker. All right, let's find that EA again. There it is there. So that's basically all the settings. This video's got up to 53 minutes. It's dragged on a bit. I've got some dinner in front of me. But if anyone's got any questions, just hit me up. But like I said, there's a user manual that explains it all. I'll do more videos on the EA actually working and showing you a few different settings on it. But all right, that's it, boys and girls. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers. All right, all good, mate. All good.